What's good, y'all? And welcome to my review for episode 24 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventures. JoJo's finally have reached the end of the second batch of episodes. Finally. Took a while. I'm exhausted, tired. But yeah, we finally reached the end. We'll get the next batch of episodes, I think, next week, whenever December 1st is. But yeah, man. Overall, love this episode. We got to see a little bit more of what Father Poochie's new stand is, so we're interesting about that. And yeah, man, let's just jump right into the actual episode. So he starts us off with Jolene watching some TV and just watching the show. And it's like, wait a minute, why is this guy going into this building? And she's like rewinding it everywhere. She's like in the rec room, so all the other prisoners are there trying to watch the show, and she keeps rewinding, which I'm sure gets very annoying very quickly. You're just trying to watch the show, and then you got this bitch with her constant rewinding shit, just like let it play. I don't know if this is due to the fact she's like, what the hell is this? Why is he going through? It's because of like her short-term memory loss, and that's kind of causing her confusion. But either way, I thought that was funny. And then she's like, fine, I won't watch it. You happy? So then she goes over to like where the comics are. She reads this comic. And the art style reminded me a lot of the art style, and I don't think this might be done on purpose. I think it's just a thing Araki does, like you guys remember that episode in Stardust Crusaders with like those two brothers that was fucking with Jotaro, and they had like a special ED for them. I forget what, like its own song and everything. It reminded me of that art style very much so for this one, which I think was kind of like just a thing Araki does. But he's kind of like, it was like with this prisoner saying like, oh hey, this spider is like the head of the prison, and this spider is currently done like, oh hey, thanks, whatever. She's like, what the hell? This makes no damn sense. How is this supposed to be funny? So, and while you also got like this guy next to her that he's just laughing hysterically. He's fine. He is finding this absolutely hilarious. So eventually she realizes, she's wondering like why the hell she's even here. She checks her hand and sees she has to see Emporium. So then she goes over to like to the way where you would usually go to, where she would usually go to see Emporium, but because they beefed up security, she can't really go that route anymore. So she's gotta find another route. And then she sees Mew Mew looking at her, and then she notices another note on her hand that I guess Mew Mew just forgot to erase off her hand that was on her palm. That says, if anyone keeps staring at your left hand, don't hesitate, just punch. She goes to punch Mew Mew, and she goes on the run, and Jolene gives chase. This is when we get to the OP, which I was hoping. I got super excited when we got to this episode. I was like, oh, we're going to get the sound effects again. I'm going to hear the sound effects again. No, there were no sound effects. They didn't give us the sound effects OP for this episode, which I was a little disappointed with. But they did do a special OP for this one where they changed up the credits, where instead of it just being like popping up on like the side of the screen or whatever, it's kind of like, the text is like, is used within the OP and is kind of within it, where more or less you see the text following like the white line that you see throughout the whole OP. And sometimes they also do little other clever things to like fully integrate the text into the OP, like where they have like the text going upside down. Or one thing I thought was the best one was when we see Jolene when she's like with the handcuffs and she rips them off. You get to see like one's music or whatever that is that its credits is for in the stars. That one I thought was probably my personal favorite one. I thought that one was really clever looking. I also like how they like put the text in for the OP. I thought that one was really done. As well as when David Production, the text for David Production just shoots up when Jolene is running on water with the scene for the FM. I thought that was pretty cool. I would have preferred if they just did the sound effects again, because the sound effects OP was really fucking cool, and JoJo's sound effects OPs are always the best OPs. But hey, I don't know. Maybe when we get to the last batch of episodes, they'll give us back another sound effects OP. We'll have to wait and see on that. Hopefully, they actually switch the OPs, since now we're going to be leaving, since we're going to be in a different location. But we will have to wait and see on that, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, she continues to give chase, and then she sees the numbers D12, and we know that Jolene can only remember 3 new things, but I guess that also counts if you if you see like 3 letters or 3 numbers, or a letter and 2 numbers. I guess it's like 3 things. Anything you can see 3 people and boom, you lose everything. You could see 3 numbers, boom, you lose everything. Which I think is kind of weird, but I guess it kind of also makes sense because your brain would remember that, see it, and be like, oh, that is 3 things. I remember that. I guess kind of thing. I don't know. The brain is weird, to be fair, but yeah, if you see 3 of anything, basically, boom, you lose everything up to that point. Then 3 security guards come out. They're all decked out with their shotguns, telling Jolene to freeze. And she's like, what am I doing here? Why are these guys after me? She eventually runs. She gets cornered by them. And eventually, weirdly, one of the guards just, like, vanishes. I don't know if Thanos snaps sometime off screen or something, but just one of the guards vanished. I don't know if this is like Emporium's doing. He managed to, like, make one of them disappear. Whatever the case may be, eventually when the guards disappear, and as the guards start to close in on Jolene, she eventually also disappears. But we see what actually happened to her, where she used her threads to, like, I guess, connect her threads to the back of one of the guards, and then reconstructed herself and sneaks her way down the stairs to get to Emporium's room. So she eventually gets there. We see that Mew Mew is hot on her tail. She gets inside there, obviously, because of the water and everything. She gets electrocuted as well. She uses her thread to get out of there before she is finally met with Emporium. She checks on him, saying like, "Oh my God, your hands, they look awful." Eventually, and then of course he's telling like, "Oh, Jolene, I have to tell you something. I have to tell you something." And of course goes to the computer. He says, "I gotta print it out. I gotta print it out." And during this time, you guys also see it's my reaction. You guys watch it that this whole time I'm like, what printer, dude? You don't have a printer. I'm not unless it's somewhere on screen. I'm not seeing a printer. How do you expect to print this out, my guy? Obviously, we find out by the end of what he meant by printed, but at this point, I'm like, bro, where is your printer? I'm not seeing a printer. Anyway, he tries to tell her about this. She's kind of like she's also kind of confused and like she's suddenly like forgets everything. Like, what am I doing here? Emporium then starts to forget. Eventually she does end up seeing the computer and seeing Mew Mew's mugshot on there. Eventually, as when Mew Mew shows up there and opens fire on Jolene, she manages to block them with like using a creating a net out of her threads and charges towards her. Eventually, somehow, I don't know if this is a bullet she missed or if she fired another round while Jillian was charging her. Either way, Emporium gets shot in the shoulder and it destroys the computer. At this point, I thought Emporium was going to die. I was like, God damn, Araki's already claiming his second victim. We're in the West, not long since FF's death. He's already going to claim his second victim. But alas, Emporium ends up still being alive. She of course thought like, oh, all that work was for nothing. Jolene screams that she's gonna kill her, then fires some more bullets at Jolene. She thinks that Jolene's only gonna be able to block 3, and the rest are gonna shoot her because of the whole like you can only remember 3 new things rule. But she has managed to block them all because of the reflection in the water. So she's able to see them all, and she was able to deflect them all. Eventually, that's when Mew Mew decides to retreat and runs away. While we see that Jolene's thread is still connected to her, and we get back to Jolene and Emporium, and Jolene tells Emporium to hold on a little bit, and that eventually that they're going to need that Emporium's going to have to make that's going to make a choice, even if it's make a move, even if it's risky. But for Jolene, that time is now, and starts yanking on her thread to pull Mew Mew back inside, but she ends up cutting the thread off before Jolene meets her with her is right on her tail outside. Then we're back to Emporium where he's trying to remember he has to print something, and that's when he also says, "Hey, wait a minute, how much is to print this? I don't have a printer." I'm like, "Yeah, bro, how do you print this without a printer?" So we have that. Then we're back to Jolene and Mew Mew. Of course, because of Jolene's stance, she's obviously demolishing Mew Mew with her stand. But eventually, as Jolene is strangling her with her threads, she calls in the guards, 3 of them, exactly 3 guards, and of course making her forget everything, and of course letting Mew Mew to escape. She's, of course, wondering, like, what the hell's going on? Why am I here? She eventually finds the 3 guards start chasing her, and then, of course, Mew Mew goes on the offensive and starts attacking Jolene, throwing her into a wall. And then it looks like her stand, like, cuts her hands or something. I couldn't really tell because her stand was invisible for this attack, but they either, like, punched her or, like, they, like, cut her hand given the new cut she has on her hand, but... Then this next part was pretty confusing. I have no idea what's going on here, where she just turns transparent like she's a ghost, and her voice changes, and like the sound of her voice changes, like she's talking over like an intercom or something. And I'm very kind of confused on what this is. Can she go invisible now? Is she speaking to Jolie telepathically? How is any of this working? The episode never really explained what the hell these abilities were and what the hell Mew Mew is even doing. Even throughout later in the episode, she questions how Jolie can even see her. So I'm assuming she is indeed invisible. But yeah, I have no idea how any of this is working. This part of the episode was kind of confusing. Anyway, the guards eventually show with their guns pointed at her, and then we see there's like 30 guards on both sides of on the floor above them, below. Oh, actually, we see it a little bit after once Emporium gets in there. But yeah, there's a lot of fucking guards on the floor above them and below them as well, all pointing their guns at her. Emporium then gives her the sheet waiting on to print, which is a binary code, and said that Jolene was the one that could print it and make it digitally. She uses her threads to like put it around the wands, which ends up being a picture of Mew Mew, reminding Jolene that she is the enemy stand user. Once again, Mew Mew says that she can. How can she even see her? And this is also when we get like you could definitely tell a different animator was working on this part of the episode because the art style like almost completely changes. I think it's actually this is the same guy that was the if I remember correctly, this animator is the same guy that did the character designs for part 5 with the extremely highly detailed line art that would make the occasional appearances throughout part 5. If I remember correctly, it could be a different animator, but yeah, I kind of recognize his style because I saw this a few times in part 5. Anyway, Stone Ocean of course beats the living shit out of Mew Mew, and Jolene grabs her, somehow, I guess, making her visible once again, and takes her hostage. And then this is when we see there's like 30 guards on like the floor above and below them, which I don't even know how you could even fit that many guards into these small ass hallways, but somehow they did. And Jolene drops 3 bullets, causing them all to basically just have the short-term memory loss she had, obviously using Mew Mew stand on the guard so that they can get through. Now, then Jolene, as she's dragging them away, she mentions like, "Oh, good job, you catching on, but I'm still going to rely on your power." So, does that mean Jolene is just going to be dragging this woman for the rest of the series using her stand, or is it going to be like something would happen with Star Platinum, where the world and Star Platinum kind of merged into one stand into Star Platinum, and he just gained Dio's abilities? Is that what's going to be happening here, where she's just going to gain Mew Mew's abilities, or is she literally going to be dragging this woman throughout the rest of the series to use her stand powers? I guess we'll have to wait and see. I'll find that. Anyway, they head over to the medical wing to want to, of course, fix Emporium's gun shop, but also to keep meet up with Hermes. And by this point, she is still dragging Mew Mew with her, and Jolene asks Emporium if he has a disc on her, which he does. And Jolene tells her that they're going to be breaking out the prison. Hermes, of course, says that she's going to be coming along, and then we just have them both looking outside the window to the great open world. Which I gotta say, I love the song they played during this last section of the episode. Thought that song was really nice. And then we head over to Father Pucci for the rest of the episode. We see my man heavy breathing, and first of all, I gotta say, I fucking love this hat. Man got an amazing hat. I love that hat. Badass hat. Anyway, this woman comes in there, which this is something I've noticed weird with Iraqi when he draws women sometimes. And I don't know if this is an Iraqi thing or a David Productions thing, but sometimes when he draws women that aren't like main characters, he gives them the most bizarre faces. Like this woman's nose kind of looked weird. It wasn't really a human nose. Her eyes looked off. They were like really separated. I don't know what it is with Iraqi women. He just, like, if they're not a main character, he like draws them really weird for some reason. I don't know. But whatever the case may be, this woman has some connection with knows Father Pucci, and she almost drops her eggs, but he grabs them for her, or manages to catch them for her, and he's like still heavy breathing. She asks if he's okay. He's like, "Yes, I'm fine. A little fatigued is all." And then he like kind of like hands it back to her. We see Pale Snake come out of his fingers a little bit, and we see like electricity going around her watch, which kind of sends it into overdrive and kind of has her moving like crazy. We see her nails start to grow exponentially long. And then as he walks away, she screams and she drops her groceries. And she says, "What are these eggs?" And we see that these eggs, which mind you are supposed to be dead, just simple egg whites, yolk, have now kind of combined, and now is a mixture between eggs and actual baby chicks. And it's probably some of the most disturbing shit I've seen in recent memory. Like, bro, that shit was just straight up freaky. Iraqi clearly loves body horror, man. This man's using it a lot in part 6. Seriously, bro. On God. And it's finally revealed what the hell these coordinates were meant, and it was for a place called Cape Canaveral. Obviously, it's still in Florida, and they basically have 6 days till the new moon rises, which I'm assuming that's when he'll become all powerful and open the gates of heaven and bullshit. So it looks like 6 days is the time limit Jolie and the others are gonna have to work in through for the last 14 episodes, which I checked. The last batch of episodes is gonna be 14 episodes for part 6. So yeah. That is where the episode ends, ladies and gentlemen. Finally, I have finished this. It took a lot of days, a lot of all working up until like 4 a.m., 2 and 3 a.m. recording the reviews to make sure I got these all done before Friday, and I had time to get through and edit them and get the thumbnails all ready by Friday. Looks like I'll be able to hit that deadline since I got these reviews out before then. But yeah, please leave a like on these videos, guys, so that this wasn't all done in vain. Please like and subscribe, bro. I don't ask that a lot, guys, but please like and subscribe for these videos, man, so that all my work wasn't done in vain. Anyway, guys, overall, I give this episode a 9.5 out of 10, guys. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. You like if you did, subscribe if you're new. Follow me on my socials if you feel like it. Links down in the description box below. And as always, come back for more. See you guys next time.